right, welcome to another episode of this podcast, Leo Save the World, one podcast at a time. Today we have a very special guest, and he's a friend as well. And we met here in Utah, and we have a common passion that are scooters. As an Italian, I cannot have that passion. In Italy, we grew up with scooter when we were 14, and it's like inside our blood to touch all these parts of the engine and try to make it faster. But anyway, that's probably another podcast. But thank you so much, David, to be here.
Thank you for having me.
And it's gonna be a lot of fun. Let's see if we're able to give some of our passion for these scooters to some Americans that are listening to this podcast, because I know that in the States are not very popular, or at least they're not as popular as in Europe in the same direction for us, you know?
Yeah, definitely not to the degree. Here, a scooter is seen more as a recreational vehicle for occasional fun, whereas in everywhere else in the world, really, it's a necessity. It makes more sense for fuel economy,
Absolutely.
For overall cost of ownership, for being able to park, for finding a place in the road. I mean, it's in the United States, it hasn't caught on.
I know,
the way,
but it's convenient for us, especially if you live in a small, medium-sized town. You don't take the freeway with it. You know, you use it for short little things. To turn on a car and move it with the gasoline price of today, guys, is even more sense. But anyway, please do an introduction of yourself, you know, and I know that you have a beautiful story that please you need to tell about it. And how did you start to be so passionate about scooters, you know? And I love that story. So I will let you introduce it.
Well, my name is David Hurtado, which is how we say it in English, but in Spanish it's Hurtado. And my dad was from Peru.
Beautiful place.
Yeah.
Another podcast again, because that place is magical.
Yeah. He was a hero. He was a complicated person, and he had a lot of passion in his life. So in many ways, even though he was Peruvian, there was a lot of Italian in him.
Oh, I love it.
He was a singer. He sang opera.
Oh, wow.
When I was little, I remember my mom gave him a record of Luciano Pavarotti, greatest hits. And my dad put it on the record player, put on Nessun Dorma. And then he was singing along, and the windows were shaking in the house. And that's how he had a powerful voice and a powerful passion for music. And there was just he wasn't Italian, but he could have told you he was, you would have believed him.
Absolutely, because also if he knows opera, he knew a lot of Italian, right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
I love it.
He would sometimes make up like he was talking like an Italian person. He'd get his hands moving. And
I love it.
Anyway, he was very funny. But my parents got divorced when I was 6 years old, and at the time there were 10 children. Well, from like age 20 down to age 1 in the home. And the older ones were from Peru with a different mother. And then there were 5 that had the same mother. So when my parents got separated and divorced, it wasn't just leaving one parent behind, it was leaving half of our family. It split in the middle, and some of us stayed in one part of Utah and the rest came with my mother to Provo. So I was 6 years old and really missed my family and wanted to be able to see my dad whenever I could. And this was 1981. You couldn't just pick up the phone. It was expensive to call long distance to Salt Lake City. It was expensive. And so I just thought, maybe I could ride my bike there to see my dad. But then I saw these kids, high school kids, riding their scooters to and from school. And I thought, that's what I need. I need one of those. And so I became really just obsessed with having some sort of transportation to be able to have the freedom to see my dad and see my family whenever I wanted to.
That's crazy. Yeah, and that was your want and need. I'm gonna build one.
Yeah,
and try and go to meet my dad. Yeah. Oh, you did try it?
I did try. If you've seen the movie Luca, It's a Disney movie.
I love it.
That's my life. Like they're trying to build something. I mean, I tried to build anything. I took wheels off of, lawn and garden equipment and tried to attach them to some sort of a chassis and make some vehicle that I could use. So I was really. It wasn't until I was 15, and I got a Honda scooter, and that was okay. But then when I was 18, my brother brought home a Vespa.
Oh, here we go.
And that changed everything for me.
Yeah, because that was more than a scooter. That was like, I don't know, it's a company with a style in the back, a story. It's something different, let's say.
Yeah. Well, this year, 2026, is Vespa's 80th birthday. So this is a company that's been making scooters. They didn't invent the motor scooter, but they really kind of did.
Yeah.
I mean, everything that came before the Vespa was not the same, and and nothing's been the same since.
I agree. And especially they have their system that I think they invented to change gear like this.
Mm-hmm.
Was invented in a Vespa. I don't think so. There was another scooter or device that you went,
It was definitely unique the way that they designed them. The motor is laid out with a direct drive gear system with a continuous constant mesh transmission. There's a lot of things in the Vespa that are, I think, patented and that were unique in the world of terrestrial vehicles, because the engineer that created the first Vespa all the way until 1965, he designed every one. His name was Corradino Lascagno, and he was an aviation engineer.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. He built airplanes. He designed airplanes. He had patents on different things like helicopters. Wow. He had patents for those.
So cool.
Italy claims him as the inventor of the helicopter.
Wow.
Although there's another guy, Igor Sikorsky, who also claims to be the inventor.
Wait. Guys, the inventor of the helicopter is Leonardo da Vinci.
That's true.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. It's, they say that he detached, he was like 7 seconds in the air in the medieval.
Da Vinci,
in the Renaissance, you build an helicopter and you're 7 seconds in mid-air. I think we need to give the name of the inventor of the helicopter to Leonardo da Vinci. But
if Da Vinci invented the helicopter in 1400s,
yes,
then it wasn't until the 1900s when Lascagno perfected it.
Okay, that's
he
fair
was
enough.
able to improve. It took him 500 years to improve on Da Vinci's design.
That's fair enough. And I know that in this kind of discovery, if you go online, if you try to research things, there are like insane debates. Also because the copyrights and what is brevetto in English? Brevetto
probably patent.
Patent. The patent is very funny because sometimes people use the patent to copy other things. They go to the patent library to see what they invented and they try to reverse engineer. Yeah. This is how they copy a lot of things.
And then tweak it just a little bit.
And then they repatent and they have a new patent and they have money of another company behind, and that's how they start production easier of that poor guy that went to the patent thinking that he will cover himself. Instead, he actually sold that for the guys. Because it's also like this for Alessandro Volta and the phone invention. Italians claim the phone, but then Americans invent the phone, and British, I think, claim the phone at the same time. There are so many things that they claim at the same time that is actually crazy.
And no one would dispute that far more than Italy's share of creativity and patents and invention have happened in Italy. I mean, there's probably isn't another country that has contributed so much.
In that time, I agree. I don't know what happened now. Now we're sleeping together with the Greek, that they invent society and then they went to sleep. But there was a time where Italians were absolutely in every single... from Renaissance, even from that period of time, it always was great. And I like the scooter idea so much because, I don't know, it's not like he doesn't want to be a motorcycle.
No.
And so there is a lot of, I think, character and the identity in a scooter that Americans don't really think about it. And so they think the scooter are something for, I don't know, for girls sometimes, or and it disturbed me because I'm like, you have no idea, if you ride one of the scooter that we were riding at 14 years old, you are the bravest person in the universe, guys. Think about something built to go 45, 35 miles per hour. You then modified, you let her go 80 miles per hour. The brakes don't even work, and you don't have any kind of protection. This is madness.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you want to feel like you're going 200 miles an hour, ride a scooter at 80.
Yeah.
And that's all you need to do.
Yes. So that my scooter that I fell in love was the Honda Cab, and it was also the Vespa for sure, and then the Scarabeo, the Booster. I have my model that when I was a kid I followed totally in love. Do you have a specific model? Is that the Vespa, the model that you're like, oh, and you completely fall in love and you immerse of how it works, how do you change gear, how, put it apart and then rebuild it? And which one was your model that triggered that, if there is?
It was the first Vespa that I ever saw, and it probably could have been any Vespa, but it was a 1979 P200E, and my brother brought it home in pieces. He had sold my mom's old car for the money to buy it, and he found someone who had one, and I'm sure I had seen one, but I'd never noticed. Mm-hmm. And when I saw this thing, so this was 1993, and it was in 1979, so it was only 15 years old. But it looked like something from ages ago. Like it just, the sheet metal monocoque body, the way the motor is laid out, it looks like a hairdryer.
That's true.
And it just was so weird and so unique and cool, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, to think it was made in 1979 when... if you had told me it was made in 1939, I would have believed you. So it was very unique, and I was able to get it running. I became familiar with how it worked, and I just fell in love with everything. And that's the thing, the genius of Corradino d'Ascanio is that he invented that in 1946, and that design persisted until the early 2000s.
Right. Absolutely.
He had a vision for something that was unique. When Enrico Piaggio asked him to design a scooter, he said no.
Wow.
He said, I hate motorcycles. And he said, no, I'm not really thinking of a motorcycle. I'm thinking of something different. Mm-hmm. And d'Ascanio said, oh, I think I know what you mean. And he started to get ideas for something different. And at the time, motorcycles had total loss lubrication systems. Mm-hmm. So you would pour oil in a tank, and then it would run through hoses and would go into the engine, and then it would run through the engine, it would come out a little hole, and it would drip on the chain, and then it would fall on the ground. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, motorcycles were dirty, they were noisy, they were impractical.
Going very fast, so very dangerous.
Yeah, they were dangerous. And d'Ascanio said, you know what, let's make one that a priest could ride in his robes.
That's right.
Or a woman could ride to work. This was 1946, post-war Italy, when the economy was damaged. People were poor, and he envisioned a vehicle that could get people back to work. But also recreational, but also long trip, medium trip, small trip. You can go out to grab a coffee or an ice cream, and then come back in a zip. Yeah, it's something that it's not easy to explain if you don't put the context of a country like Italy after Second World War. Everything was starting again, and then there was an economical boom, and so the Lambretta or La Vespa was associated with the young kids or not, that they go fast and they can go around the corner, or they can go to the seaside if they want it. It gives freedom. And that's the thing, when I first got that P200 running, I didn't have license plates or insurance. I mean, it was barely held together, but I got it to run, and I took it to my work, and I rode up at my work in the back doors, and all my coworkers came out. They were like, oh, you got a Vespa. And I went from feeling like nobody to now I'm somebody. Because you know what? I have this very unusual vehicle that everyone seems to know is cool.
Yeah, I love it.
And I feel like I could do anything. I could go anywhere. Like that 6-year-old that missed that just really, my heart was breaking because I wanted to see my dad. That 6-year-old came alive that day. Like, this is what I wanted.
Yeah.
I could do anything with this.
Yeah. I can do anything with this. This is exactly the same feeling that every single kid in Italy, when he's 14, and he can buy a scooter and he can ride a scooter has. Because in Italy, you get the car at 18, but there are no compromise like here in United States that 16 you can drive with your parents. Every single state have a different law, but the distance are so far away. No, in Italy it's at 14, you can buy a 50cc scooter and you are free. It's absolutely the synonymous of freedom. I remember the first day that I bought my scooter, I went to the seaside straight. That with a 50cc, with the limitation still on, because then of course you remove it, but they were still on the first day, and it was going like probably 16 miles per hour, 20 miles per hour, and the seaside was probably 40 miles away. So for at least 1 hour and a half, stop a couple of times to don't let it overheat. But the freedom feeling at 14 was, oh boy, insane. And so that, I think you keep it in your memory and you bring it with yourself, and so it become part of you.
Yeah.
And something like that. Yeah.
Well, I think Vespa to me is a love story.
Yes.
It's a love story that's been going on for 80 years. And I think that everyone who understands that, they have their own romance, their own meet cute, you know?
Yeah.
And their own love story of how that became a part of their lives. And that's the difference. It's not just an ordinary vehicle. Anybody can drive a 15-year-old Toyota Corolla, you know? And that's fine. It's a really good car. But no one ever put a poster on their bedroom wall of a 1992 Corolla. You know,
it's so true.
I had a Porsche on my wall when I was in.
Hey, unless it's a rally Corolla, but that changes everything.
Maybe that, yeah.
I know, but the Vespa poster, it's in a lot of houses, at least.
Oh yeah, I had one with all of the historic models. I learned some Italian words just from that poster.
Oh, that's so cool.
And
yeah, because you got in love with this device when you saw it, and then it was perfect because if you follow and you research the history, it's also a company. It's not like a brand new company from any other country that start to do scooter right now because it's easy, because they have manufacturing of batteries now that are electric, so they enter in the business like this. Vespa and Piaggio was a company with a history that is crazy, with the models of Vespa in a lot of beautiful movies and famous movies, you know, even Italian classic movies.
Yeah, they use them as like a character in so many movies.
Like, I remember you told me last night, hey, Leo, is the first vehicle that you see in American Graffiti.
Yeah,
I didn't know, and that was I went to check immediately because I was like, "What? Something about movies that I didn't know." And David knows, and he was right. If you see American Graffiti, the first vehicle that you see is this guy with a Vespa, and I didn't even ever notice. And I saw American Graffiti at the movie theater, at film school, and so many times, and I never noticed. And then there is a part where he does an accident when he arrived because he's not able to turn it off. And it looks so natural, and you told me, actually, I read that the accent was real, and they keep it because it looks real. It was so fun because it's absolutely what happened. That I believe it, you know. It's a company that if you research, you find out so many things about design. You know, Italy is very strong on design. We are very strong on design and fashion, almost obsessed, almost too much, I want to say. That an Italian cannot go out at the grocery if it's not... sometimes a little bit too much, because you should be free to do whatever you want. If you want to go with a pajama, you should go, or with flip-flop and stuff like that. An Italian would never do it. So the style you can see on this Vespa, on the website, on all the models that they release, the color combination that they choose, and this is something like crazy good for the style of the Vespa and all the models that they've been released. And he changed it a lot. And I know that all the lovers of Vespa, they love the old model more than the new one, me included. I know that a lot of things cannot be changed back for safety regulation, because the production line changed and it's just not possible anymore. Or maybe for us it's subconsciously just because you cannot have it anymore, it become more precious. You know, what do you think? Do you like more the one from the past? In this direction, what do you think?
You know, I love the classic Vespas. I was thinking about it, and I've worked on, in 8 decades of production that they've made them, I've worked on, I'm familiar with personally, like repairing something from every decade. And I love all of them for what they are. And I don't think that will ever change. I have a one that I really prize a lot. That's a GS 150 1961. It's on display in my store, but yes. I haven't ridden it for, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 years. And I think about it sometimes and think it'll be fun to ride, but it's really fun to look at too. And the thing is, it's like, take the Volkswagen Beetle. Mm-hmm. Iconic car. Everyone in the world knows the Beetle. But if you had to drive a Beetle every day for work, if you decided, you know what, this is the best car ever made, I don't need anything new, and you got a restored Beetle and you decided this is going to be my daily driver, it would take you about a week before you decided, actually, this is not a good car by today's standards.
Yeah.
It's slow, it can't stop, a
lot of issues. My father has a Beetle actually of probably 68, an old one. That is convertible, black,
beautiful,
and chromed, all restored, and this big carburetor, so the noise is like, bah, 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 bah,
yeah.
And I know exactly what you mean. But to drive it is fun. People, they notice, and then there is a pleasure of driving. But you're right.
You don't want to take that pleasure away by making it something you depend on. And I know there are a lot of Volkswagen fans who will be mad at me and tell me that, no, you're lying. They're just as good as today's cars. But really, let's be honest. Yeah. Like the technology that's in today's vehicles is light years ahead.
Yeah, even for consume gasoline.
Yeah.
You get broke if you use that for everyday things.
I mean, in every conceivable way, they're safer, they're more economical, they perform better. They're more comfortable.
Yeah.
There's nothing that hasn't been improved.
And I see your point now. So you think it's applied to the Vespas as well?
The same is true with the Vespas. And that's not to say that there's anything wrong with loving the old ones. And maybe for some people, I'll always love the old ones, but I won't ever like the new ones. You know, there's bands that I love when I was growing up. I don't like their new music. You know, I still love their old music. And you can be like that with Vespas. That's okay.
Right.
But if you want to have a really good scooter that you can ride today on today's roads with today's traffic, you really
can't compare. You're absolutely
You really don't want a 50-year-old scooter.
Yeah, you can't compare a super old Vespa with a new Vespa. But still, I understand, and I'm one of these guys that I will probably buy a special 50 of 1975 and restore it and drive it Sunday or Saturday. You know, as
take
a
it on
pleasure.
On a pleasure ride.
It's
go out by the
thing.
lake, relax. You know, but you don't want to be
or not relax.
I'm late for work. I gotta get on.
or maybe not relax. I like to if I have something that I know it's a challenging. You know, like I don't know. I need to be very concentrated to drive it. Like a very manual car or very manual things with noises. So now you're driving and you're focused on driving, then you're come back and it's an adventure, you know?
Yeah.
So it's different, I think.
It is.
And in this direction, what do you think today, this question is difficult, what do you think today is the best scooter or best Vespa, or if you want to put it together, what is the best scooter ever built? Even if you think about, well, maybe not today, but the idea, the concept, the revolution. If I ask you this question, what do you think is the best scooter ever built? What do you answer?
You know, that's a very hard question.
Very hard question.
I think that you'd have to tell me the best scooter for this or for that.
Right.
I will say that the new Vespa 150, the Primavera and the Sprint, they're basically the same scooter. I think they're the best Vespa that the company has ever produced in 80 years. I mean, we had one customer bought one for her 15-year-old daughter. Shouldn't have been riding it according to Utah law, but she let her 14-year-old boyfriend ride it. And he rode it straight into a pond.
Oh.
And he sunk it underwater, and it took him a couple of hours to get it out of the water. There was moss and pond scum inside the headlight. The turn signals were full of water. They brought it to me and asked if I could fix it. And I said, I don't think this is going to be like, because you'll have to spend so much money just to find out that it's hopeless. I'll have to spend probably 4 or 5 hours taking everything apart, get all the oil, drain all of the fluids. At least, yeah. And then, only then, can I try to start it. And then we'll find out that it won't work. Because there's a lot of electronics. Something's going to be fried. It's going to be very hard. And they said, well, we're willing to pay you to do that. And I said, okay, let's see what happens. And it started.
Wow.
It didn't even blow a fuse. The battery was still good. I mean, everything, it worked like it was new.
That's crazy.
And that really impressed me, because there's not very many vehicles that you could submerge underwater and not have anything damaged.
That's crazy. And I know it's because it's very simple. It's a simple concept. After all, you're riding an engine with some design.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
And it's only as much engine as you need. Like a lot of people think, I've had customers tell me, oh, this is 150 cc's. You can't do anything with less than 600 cc's. And like, are you crazy? You only need the 150 cc's to move your body. The rest is for the bike.
That's right.
When you have a 900-pound motorcycle, you need bigger engine. But, you know, that's what's so fun and really goes back to Dascanio's design philosophy, which was that it came from airplanes. So it has to be simple. Everything should serve two purposes. Mm-hmm. And so it's like you said, it's an engine, it's two wheels, and your body. And you're in control of it.
Absolutely. You are so right. And it makes such a big difference because, there are scooters that are similar on size and everything, and they're 400cc, 600cc, and they're very afraid for me. They're like, you go so fast, so quick. But also to be able to do it 400cc, 600cc, the weight of the device increased so much that for me personally, you lose that ratio that is all my fun and is the reason why I drive a scooter. If you give me a 600cc scooter, I will put it in a corner and use my car because for me it doesn't make any sense anymore.
Yeah.
And it's a different drive. It's more like a motorcycle. It's more like something else. For me, even some bicycles that are electric, they start to enter in that category that they don't make any sense because they go too fast, because they have too much, 0 to 60 miles per hour and then don't make any noise. It's really a balance, a perfect balance of having this small, cute little thing and this 50, 75, 100, 150, 200 at the most. And, it has all the lights and things to go everywhere. But also it's so light that you can maneuver so beautifully. For me, that ratio is the magic ratio. That if you go a little bit over in some of dimension, weight, power, engine size, then you lose it for me. You lose it.
Yeah.
And even some Vespas, actually, if you go too high for me, even older model, they become too heavy to maneuver. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think so. There is some magic in this balance, I think, of numbers.
I agree. It's like a formula, but it creates something where you are always in control, but you can feel like you're at the limits.
Yes.
But you're not even going fast enough to get a speeding ticket.
Right. And you can brake it super fast. Because the faster you go, the slower you brake it. Even if it's the best technology, the best motorcycle, if you go 100 miles per hour in a scooter or in a motorcycle, and you see a cat crossing the street, what are you gonna do? You're gonna try to stop it, to break it? Good luck with that. But if you're 35, 45, 25, your response and your break is so much easier that I think I feel so much safer. And even in the traffic, right? More in Europe than here, but I go everywhere with that because it's very maneuverable.
Yeah.
You know, against a motorcycle or something bigger. And so all these together, it make the perfect balance for me. It makes sense to have a scooter. And so I think this is part of, and my next question, in fact is, do you think that there is an emotional that people may not, that there is an emotion that people may not understand when you talk about scooter? And how can we explain this kind of emotion attached to scooter, you know?
I think if I could explain that better, I would probably do a lot better in my business.
So it's a little bit of magic as well.
Yeah, there is. It's and maybe not everybody is susceptible to that kind of magic, but I think that it surprises people when they ride one. Like, for example, years ago there was a TV show called American Chopper, and they had there's a father and his two sons, and they were building Harley Davidson custom choppers, you know, and we had just started our business, and we were selling performance parts for scooters. And they had on the show, they had a Yamaha Zuma 50. And it was kind of a joke. Like, the one brother who was the weird brother, he was going to ride the Zuma while his dad and his other brother were tough guys riding their Harleys.
They have no idea.
Yeah. So we actually sold them through our web shop. We sold them the upgrade parts for their Zuma to make it go faster. Exhaust pipe, 70cc cylinder kit, carburetor. And it got on their show. And the funny thing is, they modified this Zuma for the weird son that was like not the cool guy, and then the son who was the cool guy that did all the design work, he rode it, and he said that's the most fun you can have on two wheels.
Wow!
So
that's
if you
exactly
could,
what it is.
yeah, and it's true. And if you can impress a guy like that,
yep,
then you know that that's something. Like, it's not just any vehicle. There's something very magical about that. That formula, whatever it is, the right amount of power, the right amount of weight, just the right amount of crazy.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it because I can see that so clearly that he tried a Zuma that we call Booster, actually modified at the most, and he said this is the most fun you can have in two wheels that you don't have if you have like a R1. That is an insane bike, you know.
Yeah.
You need to be focused not to die. It goes super fast. There is a lot of adrenaline, maybe there. More adrenaline if you're adrenaline looking for or junkie. But the scooter modified is just so much fun because like brim, 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 and it goes. He want to go in one wheel because he want to try to take off because there is too much power for how much is light.
Yeah.
And it's just too much fun. Yeah, I agree 1000%. And then you told me about that period of your business, and my next question is in that direction. Can you tell me the first year, because you have a place called the Scooter Lounge, and the philosophy of the store, I really understand that the direction you want to go, but maybe somebody local or some other people may have it's just a scooter store, but it's a little bit more as well. How was the first year that you opened? How was accepted? What did you guys do for promote it or to explain people your direction? Tell me about the first year of this Scooter Lounge that is in Provo, Utah.
Yeah, Provo, Utah. A small college town. When I opened, I was 28 years old, and I'm sure that most people saw the store as they drove past and thought, oh yeah, they'll be gone in 6 months. And somehow, 24 years later, still in business. The first year actually was really good. So I found out that there was a scooter that they were going to bring to the United States market called the Stella, which is a Vespa PX 150 made in India.
Wow.
Piaggio had a partnership in India, for some time. And when that partnership was dissolved, the Indian manufacturer kept making that scooter. So they were going to bring that to the United States, and that's what I decided. I need to open a store because I want to sell that bike. In fact, if they still made it, I would still sell that bike. I might even still be riding one.
No way.
I had 4 of them. The last one that I still have has 22,000 miles on it. I rode it everywhere. I rode it all the way to Las Vegas once.
Wow. Why did they stop to make it?
So that's the problem, is that even though it's like I said about the Volkswagens, it was a manual shift, 2-stroke. It was a lot of pollution from the 2-cycle engine. So they had to try to modernize. And as they tried to modernize, they lost market share until the factory just collapsed. They went bankrupt. So they stopped production in 2016, I think.
Oh,
10 years ago.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But it was a cool scooter, and if Vespa made a PX 150 today, I could still sell them. I would probably ride one too. The modern ones are very nice to ride, but the manuals. So that's why we opened the store, and I talked about it a lot. And so when we first got our first shipment, we ordered 15 of them. I think most dealers in the country were conservative, thinking, I'll try 1 or 2, see if they're any good. I opened my whole business for this scooter. So we ordered 15 from the first 100 that came into the country.
Wow.
And then they got more shipments. I ordered 20 more. And we had the first 15 were already sold before they even came. We had customers lined up for them. I built up a lot of excitement. And so then we went to, we were the number 1 dealer in the country that year.
Oh, wow.
And they sent
That's
the top.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was always really cool. It was Provo, Utah. I mean, you had dealers they weren't sold in California because of emissions.
Oh, okay.
But dealers in a lot of other states that were nicer climates than Utah, and we did very well. And we went to my wife and I went to Jamaica. They had a trip for the top 3 dealers.
Oh, that's so much fun.
Yeah. So that changed my life too, because then I started loving travel. And then the Vespa flew my wife and I to Italy because we were a gold level dealer the first year. We sold Vespa in 2016,
I love
2017. So yeah, then I went to Italy. So then I started using Duolingo every day to learn Italian. So
That's
I mean,
crazy.
I've fallen in love with Italy again because of the Vespa. I love the it's just scooters have actually. There's a lot of things that I could have done different in my life, and in many ways could have enjoyed things other than running a scooter shop.
Right.
But the scooter shop has also opened doors for me. I made so many friends like you.
Yeah.
So many people who share that passion.
Yep.
And then just the opportunity to travel and meet people and learn more about machines and how they work. And
That's crazy. Tell me a little bit more about that trip. How was that trip?
Italy or Jamaica?
No, Italy. Like
Italy.
you were golden status already the first year, and
Yeah.
how did they communicate? Hey, do you want to do this trip? Well, how did you feel? I'm like, okay.
Actually, this is an opportunity to bring this full circle because when I started with how my dad and how I wanted to be able to connect with him and be able to see him with the scooter. The last text message I sent to my dad before he passed away was January 2018. And I said, hey, Dad, you'll never believe this, but they're doing a trip for dealers to Italy, and Carolee and I are going to go to tour the factory. And he said, you are such a great business duo. And then he passed away in February, like February 14th. And then February 18th, we went to Florence, and we didn't have to pay for anything. And we went to the factory. We saw the production process. We saw how they paint them. They gave us a special presentation of all the new models they were coming out with. And we got to meet people there. But the side advantage was that we were able to see like the David, and we went to the Uffizi gallery.
Wow.
It was my wife and I was at a very difficult time where I just was still grieving. We just barely had the funeral, and that opportunity was given to me because of my relationship with these silly scooters. But it became so much more for me to be able to help process what I was dealing with and have that experience. It was, my dad traveled a lot. He was in a famous choir, and he traveled all over the world, and so he would bring home his hotel soap and shampoos. You know, he didn't have a lot of
collected
money.
all over.
Yeah, he would bring
That's something very Italian to do, by the way.
He would, and it was like, look what I brought for you, and he's got shampoo and soap and like a complimentary shoehorn from the Hilton, and then he'd have like, oh, and I brought you some coins, and so I had pocket change from all these different countries.
Oh, so beautiful.
Yeah, and so to be able to travel to a place like that, I mean, I've traveled in the United States, but like Europe is a whole different place.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know any of Europe except for a little bit of Italy, but it impressed me so much. It's a beautiful place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so amazing. Like here in the Western United States, you can't find anything that, I mean, if it's more than, I don't know, like 150 years old.
It's old.
It's Native American.
Yeah.
And
in Europe, our parents' house are 150 years old.
Yeah, I mean, you go to Florence and throw a rock in the air, you'll hit a building that's 500 years old.
That's right. Yeah,
and it's just a whole different. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's incredible. I agree with you. But this is an unbelievable story, and like you said, it's a circle that go all around. You know, that started with your need and dream to go to visit your dad with this Vespa, whatever it is. And then, you know, that message that you said, hey, we're going to, believe it or not, we're going to Italy with a paid, you know, trip from Piaggio. Yeah. And this is crazy. Who will ever think that you can do something like this? Because then it's an amazing trip, because also you take Vespas all around. Yeah. It's the first time in Italy, but everybody will be so nice introducing things and how it's built. That was a very good story. And I'm sure he's happy and proud. Whatever happened next, you know. I'm sure that he smiles about it. He thought about it when you send that message, and like you said, when you open your shop, that people will say, I will stay in the business just for a few months. Yeah. And here we are. How many years later?
24 years.
24 years later. And when I come to Provo and I saw that place, is one of the first places that I said, no, really? I can't believe it. I love it. I must go there. You know, my passion bring me there, and we become friends to share this passion. And I think this is amazing. It's like you said, I don't think so that you can do the same with a Toyota Corolla without remove anything to the Toyota Corolla, but nobody will stop you and say, you have a Toyota Corolla too, let's be friends. But maybe I will do another podcast with a guy that hears this and say, Leo, I'm going to prove you wrong. I become friend because I have a Toyota Corolla. That again, if you have a rally version, because I love rally so much, because we Italians are involved with the Lancia KF Integrale that won for so long. The Corolla was a very amazing rally car as well.
It's a great car.
Yeah.
Well, the truth is, if it has wheels, there's somebody that races it.
That's right.
I don't care if it's a lawnmower. I mean, there's somebody.
You're so right.
So,
yeah. In fact, when I show picture to my American friends about the races that we have in Italy with the scooters, when I show the picture, I see that there are like 1 or 2, 3 seconds to try to check it out if it's the AI generated or something, because they don't really believe that there's these people with a full suit that they go down in this scooter, you know, touching the ground with their knees like they are in motorcycle, because it doesn't make any sense for them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, when you see one of these things that go 90, 100 miles per hour, 0 to 16 so fast, it become any other, like you said, if he has wheels and an engine, you can modify it and do a race with that, you know. So it's wonderful. I really like it. I didn't know about this trip that you did with Piaggio, and I'm sure that you have crazy good memories about it.
It was a really beautiful experience, honestly.
And do you think that because I don't understand if it's something generational as well, even in Italy, believe me, I don't understand if the new generation now in Italy, for example, they have the same love of my generation for the scooter. It's just because life for kids becomes so much more digitalized. Social media, especially video games online with other friends. So now they spend more time meeting their people with an online game like Fortnite or anything else. And so they have their friends that they usually to play online. They have meeting online, a time when they meet each other. Instead, for us, it was like we meet at the coffee place that we call bar. That is not a bar like you guys think in the United States where you go to drink alcohol. No, a bar is actually for us BAR. It's a coffee shop. And you go there with a scooter when you are 14, 15, 16. You don't need to call your friends. They are already there. And you say, what's up? How are you? What are you doing? And maybe they say, oh, tonight we play soccer, Dad. We miss one. You want to come? And here we go. That night you play soccer. And then you go with them to eat a pizza without organize anything, text anybody, call anybody. It was also a different time. And for me, the scooter was attached to that specific, combination of actions. That I take the scooter to go to the coffee place, to the bar, meet my friends, go before the dark is coming, And so maybe right now the kids are losing a little bit this aspect. They're interested more in digital things and different things. What do you think? Can you see this in today's people, or what do you think?
Oh, I agree. At the risk of sounding really old, I just think that kids are missing so much because they've never been to a record store and brought home, in my case, it was CDs, and sat and listened to the whole album and read all of the lyrics. Maybe you ride there on your scooter and come home on your scooter.
That's right.
That was a different time.
Different time.
And it needs, I think that there's no reason why it couldn't be that way today. I mean, people still need to go places. Even if you spend a lot of time digitally, you still need to go places. And there's nothing it's not the same.
Yeah. And I think when you introduce it, they understand it. They have the curiosity. Like, for example, the records are going back in fashion for the last generation because they like to own a piece of something that you put there, and you have few of them, but the one that you have, you really enjoy and like them, and you have the physical one that no matter if you lose internet in your house and your router is down, you can put the the record there and listen music, and when you finish, you don't need to turn off anything. You go back in position. In a way, it's a different technology that is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And so if you explain, I think they get it. Even I noticed that my neighbors, when I bought the scooter here, and then we put it back together, and they were so curious, and they're very interested. And they know that I can buy a bike, a third car, because I have more than one car. Yeah. But no, I choose a scooter. Why, Leo, choose a scooter? And then they ride, and they say, oh, it's so much fun to ride, Leo. And if we go, they had no idea.
Yeah, I think we're missing a lot of, we could call it analog experiences.
Yes.
And a scooter is a very analog experience.
Yes.
Our cars are turning into digital experiences.
Right.
Our phone, where we spend most of our time, is an entirely digital experience. Listening to music is mostly a digital experience.
Absolutely.
Now. And when something makes you slow down and have an analog experience, then it's different.
Yeah, it's almost magic. And believe me, even the kids of the last generation can feel it. Like, again, when I go with my neighbors, for example, there is a video game shop here that they sell a lot of retro console for video games, retro games. I can see all these kids that they like to buy a cartridge of a game, and it's a mix of collector edition, the feeling to have the right, cartridge, and the game is a classic because it's not the last kind of technology in graphic. It doesn't look the most realistic, but the game works. Yeah. It's fun, even if it's Tetris or something simple like that. They get it that doesn't need graphic, doesn't need the last computer to run. I think there is a kind of analog experience that even the new generation can feel it, and you can re-educate them in somehow, and they can take the same pleasure that you have, maybe that we have.
Well, you can look at all the beautiful pictures of food online that you can see right now. Anybody can pull out their phone and look at the most beautiful plate of food ever imagined anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
But you can't taste it.
Yeah. You can watch a lot of pizza from Italy, supplì, and all this amazing food, but you gotta go to Italy to try it, guys. Yeah, it's not the same things. I agree so much. And I think the same direction of this last topic that we touched is why I feel so detached and uncomfortable with these new electric bikes or electrics, almost bicycle that they have an electric engine. I really feel detached to that because some of them are so incredible fast and dangerous, and they give it to kids that are 14 because I think the parents have no idea.
Yeah.
And they buy this, it's cheap, but it's cheap because it's made cheap.
Yeah.
And that means cheap safety. And even if they put a battery and it goes fast to a tire, to sell it, because kids say, it goes very fast and there is a battery. But then if it's cheap, there are cheap brakes, it's cheap handling, and they become so dangerous. And I see these kids during the night without light and anything, without even noise. And even if you are backing up with your car, you risk to kill them. They don't have a helmet. Yeah. I don't know, how do you feel about these electric bikes? But there is something that doesn't convince me, because I think he doesn't fit the balance that we said, that equilibrium of weight, power, ratio, noise, size.
Yeah. He's
out of balance. Maybe from the other side, if a motorcycle that is 1000 cc or a Vespa that is 500, 600, a scooter that is 600, he goes away the other side. These things are too light, too powerful, no noise, and so you lose the control, you lose the idea of how much fast. What do you think about it?
I mean, when I was 15, I would have probably been willing to sell a couple of my organs to have one of those. But there's definitely things that I don't like about it. I think that overall, my biggest concern is safety. I think that it's dangerous. It's dangerous to put in the hands of a 14-year-old a vehicle that goes 60 miles an hour and that can do a wheelie.
That he goes so fast at 60.
Silent. Yeah, 0 to 60 in an incredibly limited amount of time. I think that there's...
And the law is not catching up. Yeah. The rules are not catching up.
Utah did just pass a law that should help with that, I think, but it's different. I think if you get something that's slow and then you tune it yourself.
That's right.
At least you're learning something.
Absolutely, you're learning. You're doing this with progress. Because I remember when I was 14, nobody had that amount of money to change everything. It's impossible. When you're 14, you don't have like $2,000, to change everything. You have in Christmas time, you have $300. So what do? You buy a new muffle. Yeah. And that changes a little bit the things. And then your birthday, you have other $200 and you change your cylinder. And then you pass from 50 to 75. Yeah. And then you put a carburetor. And so this is all so much progress. It's so progressive that you learn it so much, and still it's not gonna go as fast as this.
No, not even close.
Last,
And you appreciate it more when you do it yourself, when you make, when you have to save money and work for it.
Right.
And that's not to say that kids today don't, but I feel like kids get toys today that cost a lot more than any toy I ever had. I mean...
Computers, the last model of PlayStation or Xbox, the one that they need to come out, they just say that they're going to cost $1,000, $1,500, $1,600. Wow. The last iPhone or great mobile phone, they're $1,000, $1,500. Now there is an iPhone that is going to cost $2,500. They even say, this is crazy.
It's a lot of money.
This is crazy
for things that everyone has one too.
That's right.
So we're giving our kids a lot of digital devices, electronic experiences that, I don't know. I mean, I think the reason why that show Stranger Things was so popular is because it reminds us of a more analog world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so my next question is also, do you think there is a certain people that are more compatible to become passionate about scooter? Is there somebody in mind that if you know outside your shop and you meet him somewhere else, you're like, he can be a scooter aficionado and passionate? Do you think there is a stereotype or something like that?
I don't know if there's a stereotype, but I think that everyone can. I think that you need to let go. Like we Americans have a lot of ego involved in our vehicles. So we seem to think that the kind of car you drive says more about you than what you can say about yourself. And maybe that's true in other cultures as well.
Yeah.
But there's, when it comes to scooters, there is a lot of people see it as more feminine. And
here in the States, yeah.
Here in the States.
Drive me nuts.
Yeah. And because American men are afraid of being perceived as feminine at all. We want the biggest, nastiest, loudest motorcycle that we can find because it will accentuate our masculinity. I've thought about making some kind of a shirt or merchandise for our store that has a scooter that says no need to compensate or something like that. Because I think
so true. I really don't understand this. I really don't understand where it comes the idea that the bigger is, especially here, guys, the bigger is your truck,
yeah,
the more masculine you believe you are.
Yeah.
I mean, you are driving, you're not the truck. You know what I mean? It's like you can put a grandma inside that humongous, beautiful, big truck. You will still run it and put the gears and go left and right.
Yeah.
So what is the deal? It doesn't change the person that you are. You know what I mean?
We must be very insecure to think.
There's a lot of insecurity.
People won't know I'm a man unless I'm,
Yeah, I think it's a lot of insecurity, and I think the main difference, maybe with Europe in general, I think about cars, and like you said, we tend to buy and show off our vehicles because we resemble our idea, and we want to get, to show who we are with our vehicles. That can be a car, right? But I think here is more focus on sides, like the bigger the better,
yeah,
or the most money it costs, the better. These are the two values that I see here only. The biggest the better, the most money I paid is better. Nobody really ever talk about design in cars. Nobody talk about a genius idea. I don't think so in Europe is like this. In Europe it's more like the most unique car you have, the best design that you have, the faster for sure. And so if you have a small car, like I say one car, for example, a Lotus Elise. It's a super small car.
I know a guy who has one of those.
Cannot be produced anymore because it's illegal for safety reasons today. But because of the ratio of how big it is, you don't need a powerful engine. There is no electronics at all, so you need to be skilled to drive it. This kind of combination, and plus an amazing design that still after 30, 40 years, one of these design that after so many years still super good looking. This combination of things make the vehicles extremely cool.
Yeah.
And it's a super small car. And it doesn't cost millions of dollars. So it's out of these two categories. And sometimes when I meet people in here, they're mad on me for some reason. Because why you're driving this small car? I don't care if it's beautiful or not. They're mad. I just had an episode a few days ago that the green changed, and immediately that it changed, I had somebody behind me, beep, 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 and it was a guy with a humongous truck. And then I went right, and I did the central street because I need to go left and right to be able to pass a bump. Oh, if I did that. He went berserk, and he asked me to get out and fight. If you watch this podcast, that is almost impossible. But are you insane? It's crazy, you know. And this is just, I'm sure it's just because he was in his humongous truck. It was one of these truck with the gears that he makes it bigger, right?
Oh wow.
And I was such a small car, this Lotus Elise, and for him he was like, no, I don't accept it. You are not a cool guy.
Yeah.
You cannot go fast. You cannot show off because that's a ridiculous small car, and I am in a big truck, and now I need to find an excuse to fight.
What kind of insecurity do you have to get upset because someone else chose to drive a different vehicle? I mean,
yeah, it's just driving me nuts. But sometimes I feel it. Sometimes I feel it that if you meet some in America, if you go around with a Lotus Elise, right? You can Google it. What is a Lotus Elise? People will love you or will hate you just because you drive one. And it's crazy. And don't misunderstand, guys. I love trucks as well. I love trucks so much. Even the big one, a Ford Raptor. Oh, I love it. You know, you can do so many things. Actually, my first car is a Grand Cherokee. You know, it's a Jeep Grand Cherokee. That is a 4-wheel drive car and an off-road car. And I can push some buttons and go up and down with suspension. Yeah, I own one of these cars. And so I love the off-road truck. But I also love an engineer genius idea to make a super small sport car, gorgeous design, so light that with a Golf 4 engine, a Volkswagen Golf 4 engine in a truck, you will beat even Porsche and Ferraris, you know, because how light it is.
yeah.
And so I don't know, maybe it's something that you need to introduce to Americans, like even the scooter idea, because they don't fully understand. Do you think there was a design to brainwash Americans that bigger, better, that you need a bigger truck, that small is feminine, scooter? I don't know. I'm trying to think. Do you think there was a design from politics and society to buy bigger things, consume more gasoline, or something like that?
It probably does reflect something about American society, that we really value the idea of independence, yet we oftentimes consider ourselves independent by doing something that's basically conformity. Like, you know, I'm going to have a great big truck to demonstrate my independence, but like everyone else is doing the same thing. So really, are you demonstrating conformity?
Yeah.
Or are you demonstrating your individuality? But we believe in this rugged individual, that the American ethos is like to be a rugged individual who you have your own mind and you do your own thing, and you know, I don't want anybody interfering with my life. The government, get out of my way. And we're really allergic to the idea of cooperation, at least in principle. I mean, I don't think that's actually true.
Yeah.
But in principle, we are. Like, a lot of people will just really bristle at the idea that they have to share or they have to help other people.
And I think we live in one of the states that is actually doing one of the best in this category, because Utah is great with, you know, like help each other, to be very nice with each other. I think other states are struggling even more, but I know what you mean, and you're right. Sometimes I feel like for boys there are just two categories: the one that they like the big trucks, diesel, and the guys that like Teslas. you can like a Tesla, or you can like a big truck like a Raptor. That's it. But you cannot like both. And honestly, I like them both.
Yeah.
I don't understand why you cannot like both the categories, you know?
Well, it doesn't have to
conformity again.
I think for me, maybe if I was, 5 foot, 100 pounds, maybe I would feel more insecure, but I probably look ridiculous riding a scooter because I'm over 6 feet tall, 300 pounds.
But who cares? I'm 6'4", and I'm a heavy guy, and I love riding scooters.
I don't, life is too short to be worried about what other people think.
Absolutely, 1,000%. And so I don't know why you should do it. But do you think there is a way to I don't want to say re-educate people for this, but to approach them from one angle? What do you think is the angle? When a client enter and is like, what is this? And you understand that is a real American that doesn't really, enjoy the idea of scooters so much. What kind of angle do you take?
The best sales tool, honestly, is just to get them on a test ride, because either they're going to get it and they come back with a huge smile and they understand, this is really great, or some people don't, and that's okay.
Right, it's okay.
Maybe it isn't the right thing for everybody, but I think people need to give it a chance. It definitely will surprise you when you ride a scooter. It will surprise you how fun.
Yeah. Especially if you think about all together the package that you're receiving, in the summer, the gasoline that you're gonna save, how fast and quick is to turn it on and go, rather any other thing. Parking, how easy is to park.
Yeah.
I know that I'm start to park in Utah in a very European way, and I can't wait for the first policeman that tell me, dude, you can't park your scooter there. Because the idea of having a scooter, you can park it even where parking is not really designed for anything, and there is a space and you put it there and you think, this will not bother anybody anyway.
Yeah.
Why don't you let me park in here, right?
Well, hopefully, because the people get irritated when you take a whole parking space.
Right.
With your
I hate to do that. I don't want to do that with scooters.
So let me park on the sidewalk in front of Target, and it should be okay.
That's right. I really dislike when I put my scooter that is so small in this humongous parking spot, and maybe there are 3, 4, especially when I go to hiking in this place, and there is like one spot left right there. I'm like, let me park in a place where there are lines that means no parking here. But what is why should I not park the scooter here, rather than occupy the parking spot? But anyway, there are so many things together, and also when it's summer, the breeze of the wind, right? And the fun to drive something different from like a 4 wheels with in a different way. All of these combined, I think, can give you a pleasure in the summer that it's unique.
Yeah. I don't think there's a downside. I feel like this is something I love to do, so I get it. Maybe it's not for everybody. They're going to tell me it's not safe or something, but I've been riding for 30 years, more than 30 years. I've never been hurt.
Knock on wood.
And it's so much fun. When we started selling Vespa, I had a hard time because we had been in business for like 14 years, 15 years. And most of my products that I sold, my whole sales pitch was, you don't have to spend this much money to have a really good scooter. You don't need to spend Vespa dollars to have the fun and the enjoyment that comes with the scooter. And that was all true. But then when I had Vespa, it's like, I've been telling people you don't have to buy these for 15 years. How am I going to explain now you should buy this? Maybe you don't have to, but maybe you should. And what I came up with was that you should buy a Vespa because you can have an affordable midlife crisis.
That's a very good way how to convince somebody. Instead, make Davids and buy a Porsche, buy a Vespa and pay cash.
Maybe buying a scooter isn't a very practical decision, but it's the most impractical thing you could do.
I agree so much. And I agree from the fact that it's amazing for me that I'm attracted to these scooters that are 10, 20 years ago, 30 years old. If a scooter is from 1994, it starts to be 30 years old.
Yeah.
And when I go around with my Honda cab, they think it's amazing, even the design.
Yeah.
And if I said, dude, this is from 1994, people are like, what? Because it was made well. There are one of these two things that was made well. And the fact that I bought it, used it here, and I didn't even need to fix anything. And he ran, I go around, I went to the DMV and register it and start to go in a coffee place with it. with something that was from 1994 and it was so easy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's amazing. I'm very curious to see if this, again, I know that I have a particular thinking about this, but if these electronic bikes, e-bikes, in 30, 40 years, it will be so easy to take one, plug it in and turn it on and go around. I doubt it, guys.
I don't think so. I was talking to a company today that has some electric motorcycles and scooters, and they haven't sold, so they want to liquidate them because they've got a warehouse full of them, and they're 2023 and 2024 model year, so they're 2 and 3 years old. And the scary thing about that is those lithium batteries that cost almost 50% or more of the cost of the vehicle are 2 years old, 3 years old. Are they going to be good?
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the biggest problem is you can take an internal combustion thing from 1994 like your Cub and you can make it run.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's some tricks, even if you can't find parts, we can make that thing run.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think, it's cost prohibitive to, maybe in 50 years, kids will be making their own lithium batteries in their...
I doubt it.
In their
because the material are so rare inside that we're going to actually be in more trouble rather than less and less and less. Maybe the technology will change. You're right.
Yeah.
But if we are at the beginning of technology of electric, also these devices are going to be even faster and faster and faster. And again, don't misunderstand. I love Tesla. Now I think it's even an old model Tesla, an old concept, because there are so many Chinese cars brands that they did so amazing, so fast, so many miles. So I am really impressed and I love the electric vehicles, right? But I just think that some balance, some models, some things, they're just out of balance. I just think that if we are going to increase technology and speed and 0 to 60 so much, in 10 years, an electric bike will be able to go 200 miles per hour and 0 to 60 in 1.1. No, that's not the fun. That's not, everything. Even if I like speed, I would like to have an electric, good-looking car like a Ferrari that costs $10,000 that go 0 to 60 in 1 second and go 300 miles per hour. If I have such a vehicle, I will probably go to the truck to have fun. But then you lose the balance that we had so far in a lot of things, and so you don't have the same fun that if you have a scooter, you tune it up and it's barely a little bit more powerful, you make noise. I think there is some kind of magic on that.
Yeah. I think so too. There's a place for race cars. There's a place for really fast motorcycles. But maybe it's not the most practical thing to use to get to work.
Right.
And so that's another thing I've also used as a sales tactic with Vespa is that it turns every errand into a Italian vacation.
That's a good way to see it.
Because you can do the things you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Most motorcycles don't even have enough storage space to keep your registration papers.
Right.
And the Vespa has a big storage place, and so you can go to the store, you can hang some grocery bags on the hood.
Yeah, classic. If you have a scooter, it's a class.
Yeah. And so then you're using this to do the things you need to do anyway. You're going to use it to replace the miles you were going to put on your car anyway. You're going to put them on the Vespa, but you're going to have fun. Going to the pharmacy to refill your prescription becomes an adventure. It's actually fun to go.
You're so right.
Instead of starting up the car, and finding a place to park.
Yeah, and now you bring me something that it's very unique, and I want to share this story. In fact, for me, for example, if I think about it, I am very excited to go back to Italy now that I live in full time in United States. I am excited when I go back to Italy, also primarily because I have a scooter there, and I know that I will take the scooter, feel extremely free, and go to little town outside a big city with this scooter, explore in the countryside, this small town of Italy, find parking everywhere, spend almost nothing in gasoline, eat some ice cream in this square and do 2-3 words with the local people, ask a restaurant that is outside or a museum to see, or a castle or something cool to see that will give me indication, finish the ice cream, go back to the scooter, put my helmet, be in the heat of the summer Italy with the breeze in front, and arrive in another place. If there is traffic with the scooter, you don't see it because you can skip it. Go to another destination, go back home, tell to my sister what I find out that is so close to her house, but she didn't know that exists. All of this is magic. And it's possible for me only because I have that scooter back home. And I don't think so. I will say, I can't wait to go back to the United States and drive my Grand Cherokee.
Yeah.
It's not the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and Leo is really doing a good job of explaining what that's like. But one thing you didn't mention is that in Italy everything smells amazing too. So you're smelling the honeysuckle, and you're smelling the pasta from the restaurant. And you don't get that in your car.
Yes, it's true.
You can hear the birds in the trees.
No, you're right.
You can smell the flowers.
Such a good point. A good point. Absolutely. I forgot to mention this. When you're riding a scooter, because you go in a very low speed, and you don't have anything around you, so you don't see just from the windows.
Yeah.
You are more participant to whatever is around you. That's a very good point. So when with the scooter I go around this small little town, I see the cats walking in the street, the grandma outside on the chair talking about me, maybe that I'm passing. I see people how they're dressed and even hear them talking in the street. You're so right. With that kind of device, you are more deep inside your surrounding than everything else. And that's the reason why I like to go around Italy with a scooter. I never thought about that, and you're absolutely right. With the car, it's so boring.
You're disconnected. Yeah. You get on a scooter, you're very connected with the surroundings, and you're going slow enough that you can see more. You notice things. Right. You notice things that you wouldn't even see.
No,
in the car.
Ever. And you do even more when you are walking, but when you are walking you can't really cover long distances, and you can't really travel like you do it with a scooter, because if you want to go fast, you go fast, but the cruise speed is the one that give you pleasure. And I think important is also that when you're in a car, your stereo system is so important. So you have your music, and actually you zone out, you are in your thought, and driving becomes such an habit for us that become almost automatically. So you actually don't take attention for what is around, and you are in your mood with your music and your something. When you drive a scooter, I don't know about other people, but for me, when I drive scooters or I walk, wherever I walk or run, I can't have these AirPods, or it drives me nuts, guys. To run around or walk around with something, AirPods or the headphones, thinking that I exclude from the outside, I don't feel even safe, because if somebody from behind scream, help, and I have to it drives me nuts. So I cannot do it. So this idea to have headphones or AirPods when I am in a scooter, it never happened in my life, and it will never happen. And so in this way, you enjoy so much more everything. You even hear the birds, different birds. Like I know the birds in Rome, I know the birds in Florence, I know the birds in Milan, I know the birds in the countryside of Lazio, the countryside of Florence, the countryside of Sardinia. I memorize it, and they are all different, guys. I don't know. For me, it's magic. A scooter is magic. It's really something that simple. I hope that we put some interest, to somebody. And if you're around Utah in Provo, please stop at the scooter lunch, and David will be there, and he will not offer you an espresso, because nobody's perfect. Somebody cannot have coffee, but he will talk to you and have a chat, and it's a beautiful experience. Please visit him. And one more thing that I want to ask you is to close this beautiful dream and adventure of this podcast that we did with you, is if you can go back and talk to that little kid that was you building that Vespa or looking for that Vespa, and you can tell things now that you have all the experience of your life that you did, what you will say to that kid?
Oh boy. I think the first thing I would want a younger me or anyone contemplating doing something like I did is it's going to be okay. Like, because when you really love something, you find a way to make it work. And I could have had a very different life. I mean, there's a lot of things. My mom says I'm her smartest kid, which isn't true. But I've got two of my siblings are opera singers. One is she has a PhD in poetry or something.
Oh, that's cool.
And one is a PhD in education of some kind. I mean, my siblings are all very high achievers, talented people, but they're also people who kind of dreamed big and took a chance on something that. And so I did the same thing, but mine is a little different. I'm not an opera singer, but I, I just followed something that I loved, and it got me here. And I think that's important. I think that we should try to do the things we love, and when you do the things you love, it will work out.
Yeah, I agree so much with you, and you're not making a mistake. Yeah, because everything else is related. Especially today that we focus so much in success, money, popularity. Looks like there is nothing else.
Yeah.
Well, when I drive my scooter in Italy around in the countryside, I don't care about popularity. I don't care about money. I don't care about success or anything. It's a different kind of feeling, for sure. David, thank you so much to be here. I know that we can talk about scooter for more than 3 other hours, but our audience will say, hey, give it an ending to all of this. And so this is the ending for this time. Maybe I will have you in other podcasts if we do some adventure. Like, we should organize one day that we go with scooter somewhere here in Utah. That would be nice. Yeah, a trip with other friends, something like that. For today, guys, thank you so much to be with us again. If you are in Utah Provo, please go to visit David at the Scooter Lounge, and you will not have any remorse to do this, because he's an awesome person. Arrive at this time in the show, I have a present for you. Ta-da! We 3D print these things, and I just sign and we put a date, and so this is a memory that you were here in the podcast. That's very cool. And so I'm just gonna sign it, and you're gonna sign the same, and we're gonna put the date in the center, and that's your memory from today.
I've never written on a sphere before.
May do you 6 20 26. Can you believe it? We are in 2026. Wow, hard to believe. All right, this is for you, David.
This is really cool.
A memory of our podcast and your experience with us. I hope you enjoyed the experience of the podcast, and you two guys listening. And thank you very much, and see you soon.
Thank you.